Radical
change
might be possible. Punk
is dead.
Punk
Is dead.
Hello, Zer0 Books readers. It's me again, Douglas Lane, the publisher of Zer0 Books, and the guy whose voice you'll usually hear on these videos. In this video, I want to return to a philosophical problem that hovers in the background of any project for radical or revolutionary change. I'll be quoting from the Zer0 Books titles Punk is Dead and Capitalist Realism in an attempt to settle the question of how radical change might be possible. Most of the time, people think about movements for revolutionary change as political projects. But in this video, I want to tackle the question from a different direction. Rather than asking how we might change our political system and improve the world, rather than wondering how it might be possible to go all the way and change the very economic foundation of our global society, I want to step backwards in history and ask how we might change, not the world, but our understanding of it through various art forms. In this video, the challenge of how to create a revolution will be domesticated and reframed as a historical problem that faced certain artists in the 20th century. Rather than asking, how do we overthrow the government, or how do we overthrow capitalism, we'll ask, how do we overthrow artistic conventions and create something new? We'll start with an excerpt from the recent Zer0 Books anthology, Punk is Dead. Punk's enduring legacy notwithstanding, the original movement had nowhere to go. Literally no future. Going forward meant that it would no longer be an event, just another collection of professional bands releasing records at regular intervals and touring to promote them. As something that aimed to destroy, but not to build, it had nowhere to go. It was, in this sense, in the same position as other anti-art movements in the 20th century. A mere 4 years after the launch of Dada, Tristan Tzara declared that the real Dadas were now against Dada. The real punks were also against punk, or at least the label. One way to understand punk rock is precisely as just another avant-garde artistic movement. Punk, along with conceptual art, surrealism, Dada, Cubism, and even Impressionism, was just another attempt to develop freedom from society, to discover autonomy at the level of artistic practice, and to level a critique of the world as it is that might help lead the way toward not just a new form of bourgeois art, but rather to a new life lived as art.
They want to not only negate art, but in the way Du Bois put it, also realize it, which is to say, make of daily life a creative, continuously original, delirious, ecstatic experience.
However, according to an essay from the Marxist journal Mediations, the avant-garde crashed on the reef of postmodernism sometime around 1972. According to this same essay, what did end the avant-garde movements was the very fact that these artists attempt to offer universal critiques. By aiming to break with the totality of society, these avant-garde artists had to declare themselves to be part of some sort of new universal subject. And since these artists and their movements could be traced back to Europe, this meant that the avant-garde was Eurocentric. What the avant-garde failed to appreciate was the significance of pure difference, the importance of the body, and the impossibility of ever making a total critique of anything. But what if we don't accept this criticism? What if we believe that the development of a total critique can be made from any vantage point, as long as one is rigorous enough and willing to go far enough? Can we simply step back into the shoes of Guy Debord? The lessons of punk tell us that something new is needed. Any new avant-garde will have to move beyond mere negation. We'll have to think out what would make the realization of art, the transformation of everyday life into a kind of art, politically, economically, and technically possible. In his classic book, Capitalist Realism, Mark Fisher told us that it is important to contest capitalism's appropriation of the new. But he also said that to reclaim the new can't be a matter of adapting to the conditions in which we find ourselves. According to Fisher, we've done that rather too well, and successful adaptation is a strategy of managerialism par excellence.
What do you mean, prefer not to? Here, take it and verify the notice.
I'd prefer not to.
Public records.
But it's part of your job. Are you refusing to do your job?
Excuse me, sir.
The punks of the 70s and 80s were great at defying calls to adapt to the world. But what we need now are artistic and other sorts of movements that attempt to adapt to the social world so that a new way of being becomes possible. Thanks for watching this Zer0 Books video. The books Punk is Dead and Capitalist Realism were both featured, and I want to urge you to get a hold of them online at your local bookstore or at your local library. They're well worth reading. Also, subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one. And if you're not a patron of our Inside Zer0 Books podcast, you should be.